To create a game board, the first thing you're going to do is make sure that you are working on your larger piece of clay on a styrofoam tray like so. And you are going to take either a wooden rib or a rubber rib. Okay, these are called ribs. And using the flat side, what you're going to do is smooth out the texture from the slab roller. Okay, also kind of smooth out any cracks and crevices you might see. Okay, so you're gonna do this on both sides. And the goal is to just see how this is gradually starting to smooth it out. Let me zoom you in. Alternate to this one, I think. I think the rubber ones work a little bit better for this overall. But the goal is to create as even of a surface as possible. Okay, so smoothing out the texture from the slab roller. I'm gonna do the same thing on the back side of my slab. Okay, so this is what the back side looks like. I'm gonna take some time and smooth it out. Okay. Now, at this point in time, what you're gonna go ahead and do is start by marking off where your 2-inch mark for your hashtag grid is going to be. Okay, so let's pretend that I smoothed this all out. I would still need to smooth a little bit more toward this side. We will just pretend, all right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to use this. So this is roughly about a 2-inch strip of paper. And what I'm going to do is I'm gonna use my green clay tool. And I'm gonna center this where I think it should go. And very lightly on either side of this, I'm gonna create some lines for my hashtag grid. Okay, now if I were doing like a football field sort of shape for my game board, I would keep this kind of elongated. Let's say I want it to be, I don't know, more of a square shape. I'm gonna move this up here because I'm not gonna use all of this clay. And again, these marks are just very surface level. Okay, so I'm not carving very deep into the clay. You can probably barely see it on camera, all right? And this kind of marks where my hashtag grid is going to go in just a moment, all right? Next part of the process is I'm going to grab my coils that I have cut. Okay, so you're going to get these strips of clay. Sorry, I'm trying to peel them apart. The strips of clay, and you're going to score slip and smooth them to the surface of your game board. Okay, so this represents your hashtag grid, and you're going to essentially attach them right on top of the grid lines you just made. Right, so I'm going to start by doing that right like this. So I'm actually going to use my fork, okay, as a scoring tool. I think the fork works the best for your scratch marks. Okay, I'm gonna use a little bit of water. Remember, you're gonna add a smidge of water on both sections of what you're attaching together. And then at this point, I am going to press this down, okay, to the surface of my game board. Now, a lot of times students make a massive error, and that is they just stop there, okay? This is not currently attached, so I have to make sure that I smooth the clay over that line. So see how there's a line that separates one piece of clay from the other? I'm gonna take my clay tool and press down and out just to smooth over that line. I have to do this on both sides of my thing that I'm attaching, the coil I'm attaching. And then I'm going to smooth it out probably with a little bit of water in my finger to finish up. All right. All right, so this is attached on. Only problem is it doesn't look super pretty, so I'm gonna add the smallest amount of water in my finger. Actually, I could even use my clay brush for this. And I am going to smooth this out. Now, we want these coils to remain raised, okay? So if you take your finger and you're like smushing it through like that, that's not doing anybody any good, okay? So just make sure that you're keeping these raised, okay, like so. All right, let's pretend that I attached this coil onto this side. Okay, sorry. These are stuck together off camera, no. Okay, so let's pretend I attached this one together on this side. Okay, scored, slipped, and smoothed it on. I did not, but I need to do that. At this point in time, I can do the remaining hashtag, so the cross sections here. I can either score, slip, and smooth it on top, kind of like that, or I can use my needle tool or my green clay tool and slice this in sections and attach it on. Okay, so I'm gonna choose the latter option. Okay, and I'm gonna attach that right there, just to show you how you can do it. So this would go here, this would go here, this would go here, okay? And then I'm gonna use my fork, okay, to score, slip, and smooth these on. And again, we want to score, slip, and smooth these because we want them to survive a very hot firing. Okay, otherwise they will bake separate and not together. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit of water to both sections. And then the last and most important part is pulling that clay over the seam. Okay, so using my green clay tool, on both sides of that coil to press down and out ever so slightly over that. Once you've pulled down and out, at that point you have permission to make it look prettier, essentially by adding a little bit of water in your finger and smoothing out those little marks you've created. Okay. Now at this point in time, what you can do is once you have that hashtag grid on there, you can alter the shape of your game board. So right now this is just kind of a weird piece of clay. I can, at this point, I can use a ruler or this handy dandy piece of paper, and let's say, I don't know, let's say I want this in a different shape. Let's say I want it to be rounded. Okay, I can come through here, sketch on, it's very surface level, and then cut this out. Once I have it cut out, what I can do is I can do the last part, which is peeling these sections off and smoothing out the edge all the way around. So this edge is a little bit rough. Okay, at this point, what you can do is take a little bit of water, your finger, and work that edge. Again, the goal with this is not to create fingerprint indentations, okay, not to create little bite marks that we see, but to really kind of smooth this out, okay?